going on, guys? My name is Tommy. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to your Pathfinder 2nd edition preview content. Today we'll be covering the blog Trinkets and Treasures. That's right, we're looking at magic items and how they'll be used in the Pathfinder playtest. If you guys are liking what you're seeing, remember, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, helps out a lot. Before we get underway, this episode of your Pathfinder 2nd edition preview content was brought to you in part by Joshua Pearson. Josh, my friend, thank you so much for all of your continued support. Truly, it means the world. Now, let's dive in. So in Pathfinder 1st edition, magic items both served as flavoring adventures and to make sure, in a mechanical sense, as encounters would get higher and higher in challenge rating, that a given player could keep up. One of the big selling points of Pathfinder 2nd edition to a lot of people is that in 2nd edition, as we've already said, we won't be seeing the big six anymore. That is to say, our Ring of Protection, Cloak of Resistance, Amulet of Natural Armor, Magic Weapon, Magic Armor, and Belt/Headband. To buff our main stat, they won't be making an appearance this time. We already know that Resonance will be a thing in Pathfinder 2nd edition, meaning we can only use so many magic items and we can't just laden ourselves down with them, but we know the design space is opening up because you won't need to have those 6 key magic items to thrive. Let's get right on into it. Quote, magic items are used in 3 major ways: by investing them, by activating them, or automatically. Invested items are ones you wear that you have to prepare as you don them, after which they work continuously. Activating items follows a system similar to that used for spells, just as casting a spell requires you to spend actions to supply the somatic, verbal, and material components of the spell. Activated items require you to use the command activation, focus activation, or operate activation actions, or a combination of the 3. A potion requires you to spend an operate activation. A necklace of fireballs, ooh, that's one of my favorites, requires you to spend 2 operate activations to unbind a bead and then throw it. Activating a luck blade to reroll an attack takes just a mental nudge with a focus activation reaction, though you can only do that once a day. Automatic activation happens with a small category of items that give their benefit when they're used. A prime example of this is a sword with the Frost property rune, which is always coated with frost and needs only to hit a foe to deal the extra cold damage. Now, here's hoping we can turn that off if we go fight a white dragon and need to maybe swap it out for fire, or, God forbid, something that's healed by cold damage. Anywho, next up, alongside this picture of not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 wonderful, certainly very magical staves, we're looking a little more under the microscope at resonance. Activating or investing an item costs 1 resonance point, or RP. Resonance is a new resource all characters have that can be used to activate items. Your innate magic item resonance is represented by a number of resonance points equal to your level plus your charisma modifier. This ties back to the Pathfinder 1st edition concept of charisma as the main ability score tied to innate magic, as seen in the use magic device skill and the fact that charisma is used for spell-like abilities, oracles, sorcerers, and so forth. However, in Pathfinder 2nd edition, true scholars of item craft, yeah, I guess I'm going to read that how it's written, cough, alchemists, cough, might get to use their intelligence instead. That's super good, and it makes that class even better. The idea of resonance stems from the Pathfinder 1st edition occultist, who was able to tap into the magical potential of items, and even before that, to the idea of resonance between creatures and various magic items, as seen with the resonant powers of wayfinders. We've expanded that concept to apply to everyone. In practical terms, you're really unlikely to run out of resonance points unless you're using an absurd number of items, and you're at the greatest risk at low levels. You still have a chance even if your pool of resonance is empty though. If you're at 0 RP, you can attempt to activate or invest an item anyway. You need to attempt a flat check, again that's a d20 roll with no mods, against a DC equal to 10 plus the number of points you've overspent today. So the first item has a 50% chance of working and it gets riskier from there. Now, resonance, ever since it first came out, has been something that's worried me a little. Not so much as, oh, Pathfinder 2nd edition is broken, resonance is bad, bleh, can't do this. Because I realize that this frees up the design space to do a little bit more stuff, and it makes the disparity between the caster and the non-caster level out that much more. but I've definitely heard from a lot of people that really don't like the concept of resonance. Next up in the blog are 4 advantages Paizo sees from a design perspective for using the resonance system. Number 1, using items is clear and consistent. Spend the required actions and 1 RP, and you activate or invest the item. If someone else wants to use the same item, you can remove it and let them put it on and invest it themselves. Second one, you have less to track. We get to remove some of the sub pools that individual items have, such as 10 rounds per day, which need not be consecutive, or 5 charges, because we know you have an overall limited resource. There are still some items that can't be used without limit, but they get to be special exceptions rather than being common out of necessity. Number 3, it puts the focus on the strongest items. Because you can't activate items indefinitely, your best bet is to use the most RP efficient item, not the most GP efficient item. You want a high level healing wand because you get more healing for your resonance points rather than getting a bunch of low level wands because they're cheap. Looking at you, Wand of Cure Light Wounds. Last, investiture limits what you can wear. That means we don't need to rely heavily on an item slot system, creating more flexibility in what kind of worn items are useful. They'll also note that on Friday, they're talking about removing the magic item Christmas tree. So I don't know what that means at all. I guess it's going to feel a lot like Christmas on Friday. That's super sweet. And I agree with a lot of these things. Again, I feel like it balances the caster and the non-caster, or at least the high chaw character and the low chaw character, who might have a bunch of wands and scrolls and things. And as much as I enjoy character optimization, it's really nice to know that, in theory, in the play space of the Pathfinder playtest, I don't have to have 6 items or I'm just dead. Of course, I'm sure since there's more than one item in a given game, there's going to be a system. That system will be able to be optimized. That's just nature of the beast. If we can bring it down to earth a little bit and, again, put all of the classes on a similar playing field, I think I can get down with that. Alrighty, now let's look at some items. First up, we've got the Cloak of Elvenkind. Its method of use is worn as a cloak. Its bulk is L for light. Its activation, a focus activation and an operate activation. This cloak is deep green with a voluminous hood and is embroidered with gold trim and symbols of significance to the elves' best race. The cloak allows you to cast the Ghost Sound cantrip as an innate arcane spell. When you draw the hood up over your head as an interact action, the cloak transforms to match the environment around you and muffles your sounds, giving you an item bonus to stealth checks. If you activate the cloak, you pull the hood up and are affected by invisibility for 1 minute, or until you pull the hood back down, whichever comes first. The standard one is level 10, sets you back 1,000 gold, and gives you a +3 bonus. The greater is level 18, 24,000 gold. It grants a +5 bonus, and invisibility is 4th level. Also, if you're wearing greater boots of Elvenkind, the greater cloak of Elvenkind allows you to sneak in forest environments even when creatures are currently observing you, aka hide in plain sight, which is super powerful. The blog states that the Cloak of Elvenkind is both invested and activated. Investing it lets you cast Ghost Sound, and you have that benefit as long as the cloak is invested, as well as the item bonus to stealth. Raising the hood costs the resonance, but it turns you invisible. That's really cool, and I want to say for sure that along with the cost and the flat investment, I like seeing a magic item that can do 2 or 3 different things. Next, we see the Floating Shield. It is magical, sets you back 2,800 gold. It's held in one hand, its bulk is light, its activation is a single operate activation. This master quality light wooden shield, hardness 6, protects you without requiring you to spend actions each round. When you activate this shield, you can release it from your grip as part of that action. The shield floats in the air next to you, granting you its bonus automatically, as if you had raised the shield. Because you're not wielding the shield, you can't use reactions such as shield block with the shield. After 1 minute, the shield drops to the ground, ending its floating effect. While the shield is adjacent to you, you can grasp it with an interact action, ending its floating effect. And here we see the Dancing Shield. Really want to use that greatsword. I mean, I love casting greatsword, we all know this, but need that shield to help you with that hardness 6, boom, there you go. Send it up to fly with 1 action, draw your greatsword with another action, crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of their women with the 3rd action. Next, we're going to take a look at staves. First up, we've got the Staff of Healing. It's item level 3+. It's invested, magical, necromancy, and is a staff. Its method of use is held in one hand. Its bulk is 1. Its activation, Cast a spell, 1 resonance point. Made of smooth white wood, this staff is capped at each end with a golden cross, adorned with a multitude of ruby cabicons. A staff of healing adds an item bonus to the hit points you restore anytime you cast the heal spell using your own spell slots, using charges from the staff, or from channel energy. Remember, that's casting heal using 3 actions. The item bonus to heal spells is +1 for the minor version. Its level is 3, its price is 60 gold, it's got 3 charges. The blog notes there are also versions at levels 7, 11, and 15, and they add higher level heal spells, plus restoration, remove disease, restore senses, and more. This minor one has only stabilize and heal level 1. The staves have new rules as well. Quote, a staff is tied to you, which means you have to invest it, unlike most held items. The investiture has 2 extra benefits. First off, it links the staff to you, preventing anyone else from investing the staff for 24 hours. More importantly, it restores charges to the staff equal to the highest level of spells you can cast. Ooh, nice. You don't have to expend any spells to do this, it's all part of using your resonance points. You'll notice this also means that if you find one of these as a first level character, it will take you longer to recharge it than if you're a higher level spellcaster. You also gain the item bonus as long as you hold the invested staff. To cast these spells, you activate the staff as part of casting one of the spells in it, spending 1 resonance point as usual. Then you have 2 options. You can either expend charges from the staff equal to the spell's level, or expend one of your own spells of that level or higher, meaning that your staff essentially lets you spontaneously cast the spells. That's pretty neat. I don't normally play casters, so I'm never really worried about carrying around magic staves, but that's pretty cool. And we can recharge it with resonance now instead of trying to mess around with it in town. Super great. Last up today, we're going to look at trinkets. Quote, one thing we wanted to add was a type of item that was like scrolls for martial characters. Spellcasters use scrolls and everyone uses potions, but how about something special that relies on non-magical skills? Trinkets were the answer. The first example, designed specifically for fighters, is the Fear Gem. Its item level is 4, sets you back 11 gold, it's affixed to a weapon, bulk is negligible. The activation is a focus activation. The trigger is you use Intimidating Strike, but haven't rolled for the attack yet. Joe, if you watch this seems to be right up your alley. Dark smoke seems to writhe within this obsidian gem. When you activate the gem, if your Intimidating Strike hits, the target is frightened too and flat-footed against your attacks until the end of your next turn. If the attack roll is a critical success, the target is flat-footed against your attacks for 1 minute. Ew, that's gross, I like it. Trinkets all have the consumable trait, meaning they're used up after being activated once. They have the affixed method of use, and, as this one indicates, it has to be affixed to a weapon. You activate it with a focus activation as a free action when you use the Intimidating Strike from the fighter feat of the same name. Something a little less specific, we see the Vanishing Coin. Its item level is 9, sets you back 85 gold. It's affixed to your armor, its bulk, again, negligible. It requires you to be a master in stealth. We got a focus activation that triggers when you attempt a stealth check for initiative but haven't rolled yet. This copper coin dangles from a leather strip strung through a hole drilled into the coin's center. It's usually tied just below the throat on a suit of armor. Until it's activated, the coin becomes invisible for a few seconds every few minutes, but always at random intervals. When you activate the coin, you gain the benefits of a second level invisibility spell until the end of your next turn. So when you roll stealth for initiative, poof, invisible. Love it. You need to be a master in stealth to use it, and you need to affix it to your armor, but that's still really strong. That's, okay, the fight's breaking out, and I'm probably going to get seen because we're sneaking from a dark hallway into a big open room. Boom, invisible. Rogues, eat your heart out. Finally, we see a whole bunch of new items we're going to be seeing in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. The Anklets of Alacrity, Feather Stepstone, Forge Warden, Grim Trophy, Hand Wraps of Mighty Fists. Well, I guess that's not our amulet anymore. Okay, cool. Oil of Weightlessness, Persona Mask, Potency Crystal, Runestone, Spell Duelist's Wand, Third Eye, and Virtuoso's Instrument. I'll leave it to you guys down in the comments to guess what these things might be. For me, I really like that the martials are going to have pseudo-magical effects, not unlike scrolls. For one, again, and this is becoming a theme in this video and in my own headcanon, I really like that the disparity between the martial and the non-martial seems to be coming together in such a way that caster supremacy definitely won't be a thing, at least in the playtest. Second of all, it makes combat, it makes out of combat or in the case of that coin, going immediately into combat, a lot more modal, a lot more playable with. I know it's not exactly what it does, but it kind of feels like when you would put a gem in a weapon in Diablo. Of course, that was just like leeching life or elemental damage, which of course we can do now. But it's kind of that same thing. You find this magical item that you can use just by having it. They might not necessarily be game breaking, though those did seem really good, but they're a lot of fun to play around with. And if those two are any indication, I think a lot of them will be very playable. But what do you guys think about all this? Are we down for things like trinkets for our fighters and barbarians and stuff? Are we actually going to carry staves around because, you know, they're so much easier to charge now? And elephant in the room here, resonance. How we feeling about it, guys? Hey, don't forget, if you're trying to play Doomsday Dawn, we're playing it right here on the channel. You guys have till the 2nd of July to follow this card right up here and enter in our giveaway. 6 lucky subscribers will be running through Doomsday Dawn right here on the channel with us. If we can get our Patreon up to like $300 a month, I'll take a second group of 6 through. And remember, patronage at any tier, as always, grants you a second entry in the giveaway. This is a good time also to note that we have rolled over our benchmark for our next giveaway. We did it. We got another 848 subscribers. 1696 was the magic number. Our next giveaway goes live real soon. I just need to, frankly, figure out what it is we're going to give away that can top a tournament, that can top an entire adventure. Give me a week, give me 2 weeks at most. We'll have that video up. Ever since our first giveaway, every time we double subscribers, there'll be another giveaway. That remains the same. Our next giveaway will occur at 3,392 subscribers. So again, hey, if you like what you're seeing or you like free stuff, hit that subscribe button. Anywho, that's all we got for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. The next episode of your Pathfinder 2nd edition preview content drops this Saturday.